And welcome back to another episode of Hot or Not. Although this time it's called Thumbs Up or Thumbs Down. Because honestly, I don't like repeating the title all too much. Also, let's just ignore the fact that pretty much all of my videos are titled Starcraft Cast hashtag number. And then a very repetitive name, race, or no race, and versus name. And then best of something. Let's ignore that fact. And yeah. So because I don't want to be too repetitive, I changed the name of the game to Thumbs Up or Thumbs Down. And this episode is all about Leebokgu, aka GoldSCV. So is GoldSCV a thumbs up or a thumbs down? And to involve you, the viewer, a little bit into the process of voting on this, feel free to leave a like if you like his play, or dislike if you hate it, or leave a comment about what your thoughts are, whether you hate him or dislike his play, or love it. Anyway, because I want to add a little bit of transparency to the process of replay selection, we're going to go, I'll show you something. So I have his replays divided into 3 maps. And we're going to pick a replay from each of these 3 maps. And if the replays happen to be short, I might add a replay from another map in which he is also featured, which is not under his own name. Alright, so this is the map before July 20. So these are about... Some of these are about a year old or a year and a half old. Almost a year and a half old. I'm just going to go in and select a random replay. This one's a little bit too long. Let's go for this one. He's against Lucky. I'm not sure if this is the player Luckyback or if this is just a player who named himself Lucky. I have no idea. Honestly, no idea whatsoever. So let's get the replay started. I hope the replay works. And you did see the length of the replay, but this game could honestly go either way. So we have Leeboku on the Protoss, and he is up against Lucky, or Lucky. And they're mirroring each other on the map, with Leeboku here on the right side of the map on the 2 Protoss, up against Lucky, who's playing the red Terran on the other side of the map. I'm going to speed up the early phase of the game just a little bit, so we don't have to sit here and wait for 3 or 4 minutes. Because the early start is honestly always the same. Although, I might actually, given that he's going for the assimilator very early into the match, I might actually just look at this, because this might become very interesting. I hope this is the one specific build that goes for Dragoons. So let's just get the timings out there. Goes for the 8-9 pylon, immediately followed by an 8-9 assimilator. It's a very important detail, because now he can make that gateway, and he's gonna save that gas up. I'm going to send 3 probes. Now that's 2 because he's waiting for this one to finish. That's number 3, probe number 3 onto the gas. So he can start. So he has just enough dragoons, just enough gas for when his cybernetics core finishes, and his 2 additional gateways finish as well. So he can get dragoon range and 3 dragoons at about the same time. Now all that's left is to hope that Lucky does not find Leebokgu all that early into the game. Lucky is going for 2 barracks, so this might in fact just be the real Lucky. The real Luckyback. Luckyback loves going for 2 barracks and a very early academy, as we can see right here, so you can get those firebat plays off. And we saw him do against 458 a couple of videos ago. He went for this almost exact same build every single time that he had Terran. Starting off with 2 barracks, and he honestly handled himself extremely well on just 2 barracks into whatever the Protoss was doing. But this time around, going for 2 barracks might be more than he can chew off. He might be faced against more than he can chew, that's the way to say it. It might be too little for him to handle what is coming for him. Because honestly, even though you do have the very early academy, you only have 2 barracks, so you gotta need a bunker against those dragoons. But once the dragoons get range out, it's gonna be even more difficult. The upside though of having that very early gas is that he can go for very early tanks as well. But that all depends on whether he's going for that very heavy medic firebat build path, which might delay his factory by about 15 or more seconds, which could be crucial, because Dragoon range is on the way. Dragoons themselves are also on the way. This Marine and that Marine are going to find where Leeboku is located, so that is going in Lucky's favor, although he's going to lose those 2 Marines. These Marines all have to pull back to base. There is the first Dragoon. 2 more Dragoons are following up. A couple of, well, about half a minute left on Dragoon range. He's adding on pylons now because he doesn't want to get supply stuck. There is the second assimilator just to make sure that he can keep pumping out those Dragoons 3 at a time. So they have met each other. 2 Marines have gone down. Units are regrouping. Lucky is setting his firebacks down to the bottom side of the middle of the map so that he can walk around those Dragoons once those Dragoons go for the attack. It's honestly a really smart move, and I honestly do think this is going to work. Leeboku has not found Lucky yet, but Leeboku knows that he only has to scout the chokes, which he's doing right here. He's only scouting the chokes. There he's going to find the bunker, so the bunker is up for Lucky just in time. He's adding on 2 more barracks instead of going for a factory. That is honestly quite risky, because very good Dragoon micro offsets the Marine range that he is now going for. But if he can get enough bunkers up, he might be able to do this. Dragoon range not yet finished up, so oh wait, there's the fire bats. The fire bats are going in on the probes. Probes being pulled away. Dragoons seem to be just in time. Both fire bats go down. No probes have died. Leeboku has averted danger, but he's still in the process of being slowed down just a little bit too much. Lost 3 Dragoons there while he was busy with those fire bats. So that is, in my opinion, already quite weak multitasking there from Leeboku. Though the most important part there was keeping his probes alive. So those 3 Dragoons being lost there is, in my opinion, worth it, because it's better than splitting your focus to such a degree that you cannot handle those fire bats optimally. But of course, in an ideal world, he would not have lost those Dragoons there. And just in case that he went for Citadel of Dune, Lucky is throwing down that turret. Lucky now going for the offense, snipes down the Dragoon. Leeboku a little bit slow on the response, not feeling like himself today. Also do note, this game is from 2018, and Leeboku has leveled up significantly since then. But because we want somewhat of a, well, we want a random replay, so to speak, I just went in. Alright, so Lucky is trying to go for the offense. Leeboku is managing to mark himself backwards, but he did take some damage on that Dragoon's almost dead. But Lucky buys himself some time. He made 2 factories there. He made no command center. He's really trying to cut the edges there. But considering that Leeboku only started on a single nexus and only added on a single nexus quite late into the game, that single command center might just work, because he needs units. More so than he needs economy, because he has to fight himself through this phase of the game. I honestly think that Leeboku can go for the offense here. He can take down these bunkers, because there's no SCV there to repair the bunkers. Then he can mark himself backwards and kill some Marines in the process. So I honestly think that Leeboku is playing it too safe here. He's trying to ball up his mass. He's got a Reaver on the way. He wants a Reaver into the mix, but once that Reaver is finished and flown over across the map, these siege tanks will have sieged up right behind the bunkers, and they will be up, and it's going to be significantly harder for Leeboku to get in with this build. But Lucky is also trying to go for a dropship, I assume. Not too sure, because he'll be going for a vessel so he can go on the offensive move. So it's a vessel as detection for Dark Templars. The options are quite numerous for both players. Scouting the map there on the side, doing the same here as well, walking back and forth, making sure that there's nothing there on the side so he can fly the dropship over that he's definitely planning on making in the near future. Tanks there situated, waiting for siege mode. Siege mode actually finished, so he can start sieging up. But he's just waiting and biding his time, waiting for Leeboku to try and throw the first punch. And that first punch comes in the form of a shuttle that is sneaking in over the bottom side, but Lucky responds really nicely. Leeboku, knowing that he cannot fly that shuttle in time, because he lacks shuttle speed, pulls the shuttle back and decides to preserve it. Tanks in the front have sieged up, Dragoon got taken down, rest of the Dragoons have been pulled back. But Leeboku's mass is at this moment quite massive, because he's got almost 80 supply in units and only 40 supply in probes. And he's got a pretty big mass. Whereas Lucky is actually now being very aggressive here. This is a very aggressive move that I personally do not agree with, because Leeboku has spaced himself out on the middle just perfectly. So you can get a beautiful surround off on Lucky. Lucky pushing his luck here. He's trying to go on the offense, but Leeboku gets the surround. Reaver's there, double Reaver, about to unload, but the Reaver weren't even needed. In my honest opinion, Reaver takes down most of the Marines. Now the tanks are right in the crossfire. Reavers both do go down. They get sniped down by the tank, so he does manage to keep the Reaver count low, but he has pretty much no mass left. Leeboku, once again, going on the defense, even though he has the ability to go on the offense here. He really wants those Reavers back into the mix. Perhaps he's trying to go for Templars. I'm not sure here. I'm honestly wondering why Leeboku is playing so passive here, because Lucky has spread himself too thin. He's got a very small economy, a very small base, and an absolutely minuscule choke that Leeboku can honestly just walk in on. He can honestly just walk his Dragoons in, get a surround on those siege tanks, place his Dragoons pretty much all around it to prevent the siege tanks from shooting in siege mode, force them to unsiege, and take them down before that can happen. So Leeboku is playing too safe, but Lucky is spread really thin. Lost a large chunk of his mass there on the middle without the economy to boost his mass back up to size quick enough. Because Leeboku, having those 45 probes, 54 probes, and a bigger base, is capable of making mass quicker and quicker. If Lucky had plugged up his front, he might have been able to do this, but he's not going to be capable of doing this because these shuttles are filled up with... Oh, actually he managed to take down the shuttle before it unloads on top of those Marines and tanks, but it looks like Lucky Back managed to hold himself here. Because Leeboku has given him too much time. Those siege tanks, hard to pronounce, 6 siege tanks doing their job there really well. And in response to that, Lucky, knowing he has a lot of minerals, throws up those extra command centers, knowing he now needs to ramp up his economy if he wants to keep on matching Leeboku, who has a significantly bigger economy and a bigger base. There is the tank drop. It's Fire Bats instead. No tank. Fire Bats coming into the mix. They've taken down half of Leeboku's probes, and Leeboku is suffering even harder. And there, doesn't get the rest of the probes, but that's half of his probes. He went down from 58 to 27, which is even more than half. 31 probes went down. Great hit from Lucky. Fire Bats doing the trick. But now there's a counter drop, attempting to fly in, but the shuttle is on very low HP. There's a turret there in the way. Lucky spots it, moves his engineering bay up. Now the shuttle flying away. This is going to be the deciding factor in this game. And it gets spotted out, and the shuttle goes down. Reaver has to unload thanks to his vessel providing vision on top of the hill there. Things are not working out for Leeboku, but Leeboku still has a shot because he's got an absolutely enormous mass here on the middle. Lucky does not have a lot of Marines, not a lot of ground units. I mean, he does have a lot of ground units, a lot of tanks, and a lot of Marines are in the front to take down those Zealots. Leeboku goes for the attack, Lucky very quickly loading some siege tanks up on the hill there. A lot of Leeboku units have already gone down because they have to force themselves through this small choke point. They do manage to take down one of the depots, but a lot of the units that eventually do manage to break their way through are going down in the back. There is its drop, almost managed to fly its way in, but it goes down. Templars did storm. They don't have storm energy. I don't see the storm anywhere happening. And it looks like Lucky manages to fight this one off. Leeboku calls the GG, and Lucky, instead of Leeboku, shows us an amazing turn, honestly. Maybe Leeboku misplayed it really hard, or maybe Lucky just played an amazing turn. But I'm going to give this one a thumbs up for Lucky, and sadly enough, a thumbs down for Leeboku, because that was not hot. I mean, there were some good things going on here and there. He had the chance to finish it. Right after Lucky went out onto the middle, and Leeboku got a surround off and killed the entire mass that Lucky had. Leeboku had a shot. He had a shot to go for it, but he decided to wait and grow bigger. Which, honestly, I can understand the thought process, but he ignored the fact that if Leeboku decides to wait to grow bigger, in the window of a counterattack, he's also giving Lucky the time to recover and, inadvertently, also grow bigger. So, yeah, This one from GoldSCV, aka Leeboku, gets a not so hot, a thumbs down. And let's look for the next game. And I'm not gonna pause because I want you to see which replay I'm going to select. Let's turn this to busy and go to create. Alright, so let's go to map number 2 from July 20 to September 23. Actually, let's go to, because not all of his replays are inside of that map. Let's go here and let's go to Rabbit's map, because I know there's a lot of Leeboku replays here. Like he played on the name Maximum back in July. So we're just gonna scroll and select a random replay. PVZ, alright, PVZ. Let's go, I click on this one, so I gotta stick to the rule. I click on this replay at random. It's a short replay, PVZ, against Lovely Rabbit, aka Yangshiki Sonyun, aka Toki. And let's see how Maximum fares this time around. Is it going to be a thumbs up, thumbs down? Honestly, I don't like saying that sentence at all. It's just as cringy as saying hard or not. But all that matters is the concept. The concept is, do we like it or do we not like it? Whether it's in the form of a thumbs up, thumbs down, a hot or not, a like or dislike, a whatever you want to make up, all that matters is, can he deliver? Can he satisfy our greed, our need, not for speed, but for Gozu level play? Alright, so we're gonna speed up the first minute, just so we know that we're not going to be bored looking at drones mining. Drones mining, I will admit, is not as calming as watching SCVs mine. Neither is this is kind of a high-pitched noise, so this is also kind of an annoying mining sound compared to SCVs. SCVs are really calming. And you know what? I just so happen to have an SCV ASMR video on my channel. Feel free to check it out if you need help sleeping at night, or need help to calm down after a very tilting, infuriating match. So, Toki starts off with his famous 2-hatchery choke. As I've explained in an earlier game, the function is to block, the goal is to block this part here with an egg. He's going to move that over whenever he sees enemy units coming in. But given that he's not been scouted yet, he's not making any sunkens, because he wants to buy time for his economy to grow and grow his base a little bit bigger. So before he makes his first sunken, he already has a 3rd hatchery out on the map. Number 4 to be more precise, but the 3rd one that he's added on. Keeping his overlord there in the front. I gotta slow this down. I still had it sped up. Keeping his overlord there in the front, he can see that Maximum, aka Leeboku, aka GoldSCV, is making a pylon there. The probe gets sniped. There's only a single zealot there to support it. He already has gas though. He already has a cybernetics core. And he's got, yeah, he has to send out another probe back into the middle. So that's a nice delay there. Toki and forced onto Leebokgu. Leebokgu now trying to defend his pylon against those Zerglings. Toki being very aggressive as he likes to do with those Zerglings. Now hunting for the probe that's also joining the fray, and he manages to snipe the probe almost. Yes, he gets another round on the probe, and probe number 2 goes down as well. At this point, I would say, Leeboku, just relocate and place your tech here in your base. And he decides to do so. He decides to place his tech in his base, his robotics facility specifically, instead of building it on the middle of the map, because it's just taking too much time. Because it would take like another 20 seconds before the probe arrives here on the middle, which would then be the starting point of his robotic facility. And it would just delay things way too much. It's faster to just make it here. He's going for the attack. There's the sunken there in the front. The sunken there in the front is definitely going to go down because there's only a single sunken there in the back to fire on those zealots in addition to the other one. He's got this wall here. Thanks to this overload that he's making, the egg. This is beautiful, beautiful brain play here from Toki. Keeping that egg there in the middle for keeping those zealots out. Causing Leeboku to lose more zealots than he should. There's the first cannon off the mid build. So he did finally manage to get that down there on the middle. But those Zerglings are going to be trying to snipe that probe once again and slow down this plan from Leeboku once again. But Leeboku this time around manages to microwave his probe around his Zealots quite well. Zealots take down Zerglings and the probe stays alive. Cannons are secured. He's going to make another line of cannons here, because those cannons here outrange the Sunkens and can fire on those hatcheries and break down the front there without much effort. Now it's up to Toki to make Sunkens here in the front to prevent that from happening. Is he going to do that or not? He already has a lair on the way. Leeboku tries to go in because he sees that there's no ag there blocking it, but the probes are blocking it. The drones are blocking it instead. So Maximum gets kept out of Toki's base once again. There the cannons are coming down. Sunkens are coming down at the same time as well. There's a lot of Sunkens, and I think that Leeboku can take all of them down before his Zealots die to the Sunkens there in the back. So this is going to be a successful plan from Maximum. There goes the first one, there goes the second one. He's placing overlords on top, so it's harder to click on them. It's harder to click on them for me. And there they are. They all gone down. Shuttle has arrived. Time to shuttle units in to the base of Toki. Toki does not have a lot of units here in his base yet. He is at the moment supply stuck, waiting for the Overlord to finish. He does have Overlord speed on the way. He's got a single Hydralisk there. Oh, 2 more here in the front. He's got no Lurker aspect upgrade on the way either. Overlord was hanging here, went down. A little bit of bad awareness there from Toki. Game is looking really good for Maximum, aka Leeboku, aka GoldSCV right now. Even the drone there is stuck. He's got his tech progression up and running. He's got a Templar's Archive already finished up with Storm upgrade on the way and shuttle speed on the way as well. Weaver shuttle on being warped in as well, adding on more gas now too. 52 probes, 35 for Toki. A small detail that I like in Toki's defensive Zerg Sunken placement is that he spaces them out a little bit most of the time. Because if the enemy has Reavers, the splash damage from the Reavers, the Scarabs, can hit 2 Sunkens at the same time. So he always decides to space them out just a little bit. But it also makes it easier for his own Hydralisk to move through and get a great surround off on whatever units are trying to enter. So you can either decide to place them like this in blocks, which is then more or less a huge wall that enemies have to go through, but it makes it easier for Reaves to kill. There is the Templar Storm Drop in those shuttles, well, in the shuttle. Of course, they're there being a bitch, distracting Toki, taking on the Overlord, and looks like Leeboku is not managing to make his way in. There is, he flies around, storms the Hydralisk, manages another one, storms more Hydralisk. There's still another Templar in there. The Templar gets a storm off on the probes, and the drones do go down. That's 30 drones dead. Well, 20 drones dead there for Toki. Follow-up drop is not yet on the way. He does have a couple of shuttles here finished. Oh, there it is. That's the follow-up drop. Reavers being made on the middle. He's preparing himself for the push. This game is looking pretty good for Maxima, for Leeboku. Even though he kept losing his probe there on the middle, which was honestly just amazing play from Toki. Toki now being caught off guard, but he is now responding to it. His Scarab does, but he does not. Leeboku microing his Reaver really well there, but he's eventually forced away. Overlord on the other side does go down. There's another shuttle lined up here on the other side. There's a Templar in there. He's waiting for his time. He's biding his time, waiting for an opening for his shuttle to fly in while he's distracting with his Corsair and with the other drop. But I think he's waiting for energy on this shuttle. Another one. 2 shuttles at the same time flying in. Reaver lands on the low ground. Reaver gets a shot off. Reaver kills. Doesn't get a kill. Reaver kills nothing. Templar there as well. Templar not in range to storm any of the drones, so he doesn't get a kill. But there's already another drop flying in. This time he gets a single kill on a single drone with that Scarab. That's really, really fortunate. But there's already another one. That's shuttle number 4. Gets a storm off on those drones, and that is some amazing shuttle juggling there at the end from Leeboku. Juggling 4 shuttles at the same time, have them all lined up as a great setup, making sure to draw Toki's units away from the other shuttles really, and microing all of them at the same time as well. That is probably one of the hardest to defend setups, just because the number of shuttles is so high and they're coming from every single direction. That is honestly really hard to hold. So Leeboku GoldSCV, you have redeemed yourself compared to last game, because last game you got smacked around like a bitch in the second half of the match. And this time around, you just recovered really well from continuously losing your probe on the middle. And Toki also kind of shot himself in the foot by getting supply stuck and then also losing his Overlord to get supply stuck again. And then, well, assuming that there were only 2 Templars in the shuttle, which is honestly not unreasonable, but you can never be too sure. Can never be too sure. But there was a 3rd Templar in the shuttle. So, in game number 2, Leeboku, aka GoldSCV, manages to redeem himself, scores himself some points on the list, and wins game number 2 against Toki this time around. So he's lost to Lucky, beaten Toki, and it's time for game number 3, which will also be a random selection, but this time around from his own map. I just want to show the maps. I got them named really nicely. Then I have them in the 1-1 replays map for that person. Then I have them split up for date to make it easier to find. Then I have them, well, I have the date here, name. At first I started writing the name first. Later on I started adding the date first. So it's easier to find date-wise. Alright, so we're gonna, and this is the replay we're gonna watch. High Roller against Boss HS, and it's a long one. Oh, this one is really long. I'm glad I didn't click on the one under that one. Alright, so High Roller against Boss HS. Or should I go for this one? Well, we've already had him on Protoss twice. So I want to see him on another race, but I don't want the replay to be too long. Because honestly, 24 minutes is a little bit long, so I'm going to try again and, well, pretty much ended at the exact same spot. This isn't really working out, is it? All right, this one is short, but he's on, honestly, I want to see him against Hamburger Sasu. I want to see him against Hamburger Sasu, because 2-2-2-2-U is Leebokgu. So let's go for this Terran versus Zerg. I know it was like, we spent like 2 minutes or something not watching a game. Hope you don't mind, hope you can forgive me. But let's go into this game. Hamburger Sasu, aka Took a Random, against Leebokgu, who's using the name 222U. Which is quite similar to my own name I'm using right now, which is 2U. Alright, so Hamburger Sasu here on the Zerg. And we've got Leebokgu here on the Terran, the orange Terran right next to Hamburger Sasu, which is both a good spot for Leebokgu and a bad spot for Leebokgu. See, he manages to build an advantage very early on. Unit reinforcements arrive very, very quickly. But if the game drags on and he cannot establish that overhand over Hamburger Sasu, the same rule applies. Hamburger Sasu can reinforce and attack very, very quickly with very little room to respond for 2-2-2-U. I'm just going to say GoldSCV because 2-2-2-U is kind of annoying to say. Starts off with a barrack, which would have been absolutely amazing and great for him if Hamburger Sasu went for the choke, because then it means that he can go for a bunker rush. But because his first Marine will be out about 15 seconds quicker, and if he went for a depot first, because it takes 13 seconds for an SCV to spawn, but you can add 2 seconds for moving and starting the process of building, so about 15-second difference. But Hamburger Sasu goes for a hatchery inside of his base. 2 hatcheries inside of his base, to be more precise. No choke. And just to make this known, Hamburger Sasu's Zerg, even when he's not choking, is definitely no joke and not to be underestimated. Because this guy has amazing micro and multitasking and great planning, honestly. He's going for a 3rd hatchery. That's 3 hatcheries. That is extremely greedy. But perhaps he's banking on Leeboku only scouting the entrances, looking for a hatchery. Because that is a tendency he does have, as we can see here. He tends to only scout the entrance, always assuming that if he's playing against a Protoss, there's a pylon here in the choke, because the Protoss will be going for a choke. So there's a pylon that has to be there for the cannons. Or if he's playing against a Zerg, there's going to be a hatchery there. And I have seen Leeboku lose games because he is trying to cut as many corners, or you could word it, trying to be as efficient as possible. But it's not working this time around. Because this means that Hamburger Sasu will finish his pull. He does have his drones, and Meepla also has the information that Leeboku does not know that Hamburger Sasu is right next to Leeboku. He knows that Leeboku does not know. And you can see those Marines there. Marines now is moving outside of the vision just to make sure that he can see anything walk in. Just like he's making sure he can see this little part here. So you can see anything walking in from the top side there as well, although right now it's currently outside of the vision. He might relocate it a little bit later into the game. His Overlord is cut out. He has been spotted. Leeboku knows now that Hamburger's house is somewhere on the right side of the map and that he has missed him. I mean, he already knew that he missed him because he thought of all the chokes and didn't see a single hatchery. 6 Zerglings now out on the map for Hamburger Sasu. Speed is on the way. Just keeping that there in the front. Doesn't want to lose them yet, so he's just being defensive with his Marine, with his Zerglings. Leeboku, knowing that Hamburger Sasu went for a no choke Zerg, is adding on Marine barracks because a huge Marine ball with medics and some firebats is the counter to Zerglings. And it also gives him the option to just stim in, use his Marine range and the stim upgrade to tear through those Sunkens. And honestly, he has to start being offensive because I think he's going for a Spire. He wants to go for... Oh, he's going for a Den, but that's a very late Den. Extremely late Den for Hamburger Sasu. But Hamburger Sasu is first going to try and deal some damage with those Zerglings. He's got Burrow upgrade on the way. He's going to burrow his Zerglings here in the front and wait for Leeboku to have his units on top of those Zerglings so that he can get an automatic surround and surprise attack and instantly be in the melee range of those Marines. That's a very nice move there from Hamburger Sasu. Whether it's going to work, I do not know. Lurker aspect is now on the way. A couple more Zerglings are on the way as well, ready to rendezvous here on the point. But Hamburger Sasu does not know that Leeboku has 5 barracks, so that's a lot of Marines. And he's balling them up right on top of those Zerglings. Now the Zerglings are unloading. He gets a surround of all those Marines. Marines get cut out. A lot of Marines are there, ready to stim up. Medics are there as well. Hamburger Sasu knows he cannot fight into this because of the medic count. And he decides to pull back to his main. What he did manage to achieve is that he managed to lower the amount of Marines that Leeboku has there. But Leeboku has 5 barracks. And those Marines are on the way. He's got a factory there as well. He's got an engineering bay on the way as well. And there's only 2 Sunkens. Go of Hydralisk. Oh, he manages. Leeboku goes in. This is very clear from Leeboku. Hamburger Sasu gets this around all those Marines. The Marines are taking out a lot of the Zerglings because of the medics and the stim upgrade. And eventually he does manage to come out on top. Hamburger Sasu forced to pull back to his Sunkens. But now the Marines are being taken down by the Sunkens there. Hydralisk assisting. Will this be enough for Leeboku, or is Leeboku going to bite the dust here? It does look to be enough, because that Sunken went down. The other Sunken is also going to go down, and there's no additional forces here for Hamburger Sasu. Hamburger Sasu is getting outplayed by a very simple 5-barrack push from Leeboku. Had Leeboku waited a little bit longer, or had Leeboku not gone for the 5 barracks in total, he would not have been he would not have had enough units to fight into the units that Hamburger Sasu had. Hamburger Sasu loses his lair, but he does have his lurkers on the way here. So lurk aspect gets finished. He's going to try for it. He's going to try to go for the counterattack, but Leeboku does have no turrets. No turrets, but he does have an engineering bay. There he's trying to fight. Pulls back. He's trying to keep those lurkers at bay. He does not have a scan, but he can make a scan. Still no turret there in the front. Just regrouping his units here inside of the pathway. And waiting for more Marines to spawn. Adding on a 3rd command center. He's just going to take his time. There's a science facility on the way. The scan is on the way as well. I assume that once the scan finishes, he can just go for it. More lurkers on the way here as well. The lurkers are almost finished. Once the number of lurkers becomes too big, sending Marines in will be futile because the Marines will die pretty much instantly to the lurker spines. So it really depends on how Hamburger Sasu is going to try to pull this off. He's going for the offensive move, but he gets spotted out by the engineering bay. A single lurker goes down before they burrow. Marines get pulled back. Leeboku is playing this very, very careful because he knows that there's still a freak accident can happen. There he goes, burrows up, gets a shot up on a couple of Marines, and immediately unburrows, and burrows again a little bit further, a little bit deeper. He's slowly progressing forward. He's just paying attention only to his lurkers and his units here because this is pretty much the only shot he's got. More lurkers are finishing up in his base. He's moving forward very slowly. Tank is sieging up inside of the choke for Leeboku. Humber Kasasu is pushing his advantage. He's got more of those lurkers that are on the way. Just waiting and biding his time. 3 of those lurkers went down. 1 of the lurker is being forced away, but now he's going to try to get in behind those Marines, trying to burrow up in this choke point. No, he's burrowing up just outside of the choke point. He's trying to go in. Scan comes down. He's not burrowing. He leaves the game. Humber Kasasu loses, stretches himself too thin. He tried to force it, but is incapable of doing so. And Leeboku wins the 3rd game. And honestly, the game wasn't too hot, wasn't too awesome. It's just kind of a run-of-the-mill game where things play out as they should. In favor of Leeboku this time around. Leeboku just went for the right choice. Recognizes he needs more barracks, more ground forces before he can transition. Because he knows he can't transition quick enough into the vessels and the tanks to counter the lurker play. So he knows that, alright, then I'm just going to add on more barracks. So I can potentially push in the Zerg with the superior marine count and the superior medic count and cut him to the chase. I think that's the saying. Beat him to the punch. I like that one more. Yeah, so this is another short game. Perhaps I should have picked a longer game, but who cares? He's displaying some decent control, some good planning, good reactions, good build order control. Let's just pick a really good game this time around. All right, we got this against Trisha. Oh, this is not Leeboku. This is 2 other people. So we gotta reselect another one once again. We can try to let's look at him on the Zerg. Sun Wang is the player 458. So we've got some 458 against Leeboku. Leeboku on the Zerg. So we have seen him on all races. And let's see if he's good or not on the Zerg. Or if Sun and Wang, aka 458, is simply too good. So we have ourselves in a cross-map situation. Which means that this is the game within which Leeboku has the biggest chance of displaying a really solid Zerg. Because if he's close, it becomes significantly harder because the timing of the attacks for Sun Wang are pretty much instantly. When it's cross-map, you can add like 20 seconds, even 30 or 40 seconds to the attack that Sun Wang can throw out. Well, that's a great advantage here for Leeboku. He's got more time to prepare himself for the offense. And more time to turtle up. And potentially even go for the counterattacks if he wants to. But we just have to wait and see. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Just a little bit. Because we both know what they're going to do. Choke coming out for Leeboku. Who's playing on the name S10E, by the way. I didn't mention, but that should have been obvious. And there is the Nexus for Sun Wang. There is the Forge. He's not making a choke because he knows he doesn't need it against the Zerg. He's very confident. Just making it near his Nexus. Alright, now is the point we're gonna slow down. You already know the replay length, so as well nothing by screwing up the interface. A single sunken for Leeboku. Adding on 2 hatcheries right at the bat because he hasn't been scouted yet. Which is kind of a gamble, but he assumes that 458 cannot throw out an attack anytime soon. Well, Zerglings are mostly made for the purpose of scouting a map very, very quickly. So he can determine whether he has to add on more sunkens, or whether he can add on more hatcheries, or start a gas. If he finds nothing that can attack him, I assume he's going to stay low on the sunken count for his choke, and mostly just focus on getting his hydraulics up and his economy up and running with an advantage. Well, because he has information that will allow him to do so. 4 of 8, just as you're looking at him, sends his probes to his gas and adds this cybernetics core as ready to ramp up. Zealots on the way, so he can potentially go for the frontal attack on the Sunkens. If he catches Leeboku slacking off on Sunkens, he can go in with those Zealots. But those Zealots are also there to secure a pylon here in the front. Leeboku tries to fight a little bit, but of course 4 Zerglings cannot fight into 4 Zealots. Probe is being protected quite well by 458. Zergs are pulling back. Gonna have to defend those Sunkens from those Zealots, but I don't think that 458 is planning on going in. 458 wants to get that pylon down so he can expo his Reaver technology right in the front of Leeboku's choke. Instead of having to move all over the map to start a push and start attacking his opponent. So there's hatchery number 4, technically number 5, and there's number 6. 4 Sunkens there in the front, sending his Overlord out to that choke point here, or well, to the block, or you could call it the expo, so you can keep himself up to date on the progression of those robotic facilities that Sudden Wang is throwing out here on the middle of the map, and prepare himself adequately, really. Not too much, not too little, not too soon, not too late, but exactly on time. So now he starts making his Hydralisk Den, because he sees the robotic facility there. So might as well start it now, because you're already on this many, on a lot of hatcheries, honestly. Hatchery number 7 coming out as well. Lairs on the way. Steady gas income there as well. Here inside the base, there's a Templar's Archive on the way. As always, Sudden Wang likes to throw out a Stargate for the courser abuse on the sides to deny Leeboku vision on the sides, kill some Overlords in the process, and force Leeboku to produce more Overlords, which means that he cannot spend those minerals on defending. So basically just denying map vision on the sides, and reducing the reaction time that Leeboku has to drops or shuttles flying in over the sides into his base, which is in my opinion the biggest advantage you get out of denying vision of the sides, because reaction time can be the difference maker in landing or missing good storm drops or good Reaver drops. Of course, making speed first, because he wants to catch up and keep up with the shuttles. If you go for range first, you can shoot a little bit farther, but you cannot keep up with speeded shuttles, Corsairs, or whatever is aiming to fly into your base or is harassing your Overlords. So always go for lags first for your Hydralisk so you can move around your base quicker and defend more easily. Then you get range. Spire there on the way as well for Scorches, smart choice. Corsairs took down a single Overlord, hunting for more. Leeboku is bottling up his Overlords close to each other. 458 is trying to micro his Corsairs to attack the Overlords, but he decides against doing so. The added benefit of going for Corsairs here is that 458 gets himself information on the state of Leeboku's defenses, but also on where he's locating his Hydralisks. Hydralisk get pulled up, Overlord is going to go down, single Corsair gets migrated away to safety just in time. No units have been lost for either side yet, aside from a single Zergling. 2 Zerglings, I guess, because there's only 2 Zerglings left here in the front, and he had 3. So only 1 unit has been lost this entire game, and 2 Overlords, but the Overlords don't really count as units. Flying back, scouting the map, looking for Overlords. For the entire top section all scouted out, and now he knows that he can... There's nothing to worry about in that section of the map. More shuttles are on the way. He's not going for Reavers. Usually players go for Reavers, but 458 is not going for Reavers. He's just going for a mass of Zealots and Templars and fly them into the base of Leeboku. Leeboku's unit count is honestly really low. He only has those 12 Hydralisks there on the side. Now more Hydralisks are on the way. Scorchers are on the way as well. But will it be in time? Because 458 is loading all of his shuttles up. Scorches have just finished up, so that's looking really great for Leeboku. Overlord got taken down there on the side. Scorches are chasing the Corsairs, which might not be the best choice. Shuttles have been located here to the side, way outside of Leeboku's vision and ability to attack or find shuttles. That's a great choice, making sure that he can fly them in. But there, the shuttle's flying in. Course has a response. Course has taken down almost all of the shuttles. Single shuttle still alive. He's only dropping Zealots now inside of Leeboku's base. Great reaction there. He had very little reaction time, but he reacted almost the moment he got vision of those shuttles. Took them down. More shuttles are on the way now as well, but those shuttles got spotted out, so Leeboku can prepare himself to intercept those shuttles before they hit the base. You can see them with the Overlords. He splits them up. Single Templar in one, Zealots in the other. Both get sniped down before they can reach the point of destination. Now Leeboku extends the game once more, giving himself the opportunity to start adding on hatcheries and upgrades as well. So Leeboku is in a really good spot here. A really good spot. He is extending the timing of his hive by quite a lot. That's a queen's nest. Just as I mentioned it, he decides to make the queen's nest to make a hive. He's mostly relying on getting vision with his overlords and using his hydralisks to snipe the shuttles, which I honestly really like. It's a great strategy, given the fact that you're quick enough to respond and good enough to target fire every single shuttle individually, and potentially even control hydralisks on 2 separate locations at the same time. 458 has added on a lot of gateways. Hasn't really used Reavers at all. He does have Reavers on the way now. I assume he's got Scarab damage upgrade as well. Now adding on more forges for more upgrades. He's flying it over the front here instead of going over the side. This is a great choice because all of Leeboku's units are on the sides. Doesn't manage to snipe, and there is one storm, and he kills about 20 or so drones. That's a huge storm. That's an actually huge storm. Leeboku though does have a lot of minerals there. He can make 2 or 3 groups of drones. He's making 2. 21 drones, about 2 groups of drones. One of them finishes up, sends them to his minerals. So he is capable of recovering rather quick. But that is a successful drop from Sunwang. Sunwang should also start contemplating whether to attack the front here or not, because he does have the resources to do it. And he should have done it right before Leeboku decides to beef up the front, because Leeboku is now beefing up the front, knowing that 458 is planning on going for the frontal attack here, because he's managed to hit the minerals. So yeah, he decides to attack the front. Doesn't decide to go all in, because honestly there's a lot of high risk. And if he decides to go all in on that choke here, Leeboku does have the opportunity to go for the counterplay by just all in attacking here on the front, killing those Reavers, killing those units that are also dying to the Sunkens. Another drop here, sent to the top side, but he flew through vision of Leeboku, so Leeboku's also, of course, relocating his units to the side. 458, of course, trying to deny vision on the sides, makes pylons. Frontal attack happening now, right before the Sunkens finished up, but the Sunkens finished up before he can really do much damage. Means he's going to lose a lot of his units here in the front. He's got a lot of Reavers and Templars there to defend himself against the counter-attack from Leeboku. And I think Leeboku knows. Leeboku pulls back. He's waiting for the shuttles. The shuttles are threatening there, standing there just menacingly on the side. There's the Mulisks. Great option against Reavers and Zealots, but there comes the storm. There comes another storm. They dodge, and almost all of the Mulisks actually do stay alive. Quick reactions there from Leeboku keeps them out of the fray. He's gonna have to keep them alive so he can put them into Guardians. He just decide to try and go back in, but I think this is pushing it. There's shuttles. He's focusing on them. Shuttles get taken down before they can do anything of significance. But the front here has been taken down by Sunwang. Another huge stream of units has just finished up for Sunwang. He's setting them all over the map, across the map, and he's planning on attacking the front here. There's a lot of Templars there in the mix as well, but I don't think those Templars are significantly... There's enough of them to storm down this entire mass that Leeboku does have here. 160 supply goes 188. Templars now going in as well. Zealots taking down the Sunkens. Templar storming on the Hydralisk, getting some great storms off. And because he saved up a lot of energy, he has more than just 5 storms. He's got about about 15 of them. Now there comes the drop. There's nothing in the path of those shuttles. Is this going to be the deciding drop for 458? Leeboku dodges the storm, but he's dodging right into those Templars that are in his way. And those shuttles actually did happen to be empty, so that means that 458 was just planning on forcing those drones into his Templars instead of actually trying to storm. And there he gets a storm off all those drones as well, with a Templar that managed to sneak in. That's a devastating hit for Leebokgu. Leebokgu now on 32 drones, of which most are on his gas. And this is starting to look really, really bad for Leebokgu. Shuttle manages to make its way in, gets ensnared, but the Reaver gets on the low ground. Reaver gets a shot off, kills 10. Gets another shot off, but is this shot gonna hit? Kills 2 drones on the gas. And 458 has managed to dismantle Leebokgu. Not completely, but has managed to deal significant amounts of damage right there with that entire push. More drones coming up to the front. Drone count is back up to 40. I needed some water there. So he does have some guards up in the mix now. 458's mass is almost back to max. Leeboku hovering on 111. He's just trying to recover his economy so he can start pumping out units again. So at the moment there's no choke, no sunkens, just only dynamic defenses, units to defend himself with, but water is upgrades. It's in 1-2. 458 is on 1-2 as well, but there's Reavers there in the back with Scarab damage upgrade, and they're taking care of those idlers very, very quick, as if they didn't even exist at all. Turn through them like butter. Or your drug guards there in the back. Unit count of 121, but most of those units are in production. Units are streaming in for 458. 458 is definitely showing us that he's got this in the back. And this is actually an extension of is 458 hot or not, because this was really, really good PVZ from 458. That was some really good pressure and honestly really good selection of movements and actions. He decided to attack the right points at the right times. And Leeboku was not able to fight Sudden Wang off. He did play really well, he did have some really good moves, but in the end he did lose. He got overpowered by 458, which in itself is no shame. No shame. So honestly, I think Leeboku played quite well. I don't think a lot of players could have beaten his Zerg in this situation. And Starcraft World is a pretty good example that honestly is a really hard thing to do. Beating him Protoss versus Zerg without spot abuse, which is a very important indicator here. No spot abuse here. This is all on a very balanced spot here that Leeboku is located on. So really well played from Leeboku as well. I'm going to give him a thumbs up because I like this display. And because most of the games have been a bit short, I'm going to throw in a game number 5 just for the heck of it. Because I'm quite enjoying these games. So yeah, Leeboku loses. We're going to give him another shot. I actually do have to select one of his replays though. So yeah, let's put him back on. I actually want to see him play a Terran versus Protoss. Let's see if there's a Terran versus Protoss in here. So this is Terran versus Protoss playing against Mong. Mong is really good at regular maps. He's also pretty good at fastest maps. Honestly, he really is. He's beaten some of the best players on fastest map in a lot of matchups. So he does have the skills. So let's do a game of Leeboku against Mong. See how this turns out. Whether Leeboku can show us his Terran versus Protoss skills or not. Because that's the only matchup we haven't seen him in yet. But we also haven't seen him on Zerg versus Terran. But we've seen almost all matchups. So for this game, you know how long it is. Let's see what Spawn King, aka Leeboku, can do against MongTube, aka Mong. He who is one of the top level Terran pro players in Korea. So he is up against one of the most decorated players that he's probably ever been up against. I don't know if he's played against Flash though. I am not sure if Leeboku has played against Flash, because that would then of course be the most decorated player he's played against. Slow it down a little bit. So Mong goes for one of these standard starts here. Starts with a gateway and a gateway pylon, which usually is located here so he can choke up, but he is deciding against that. He wants a pylon inside his base. He's not planning on choking up, he's planning on going aggressive. Leeboku, on the other hand, going for that A10 depot, followed by 2 barracks. I mean A10 barracks, followed by a depot and 2 barracks, and starts scouting the map with an SCV and a marine, just in case his opponent is right next to him and has started with no gateways, and then started with a choke, so he can try to deny that. Well, that's what I thought he would do, but he's starting with a choke of his own. 3 depots in a row block off the entire section here. Nothing can walk through except marines, medics, and firebats. He's planning on being defensive. Mong adding on a +1 nexus. Still no pylon there in the front. I'd honestly say this is quite risky, because that means he might not be capable of getting a pylon up there in the front. 2 gas there coming up as well quite early before the cyber and before the forge. That's gonna hurt his income quite a little bit, but I'm fully confident in Mongtube's ability to control his units and keep his macro up to par. Because after all, he is a pro player. There's 7 at his core. There's part 2, and soon we're gonna see part 3 of the depot wall. But Mong beats it to the punch, gets this round on the SCV. SCV gets moved away just in time. Leeboku keeping his marines very close to the depot, so you can try to scare those zealots away. Zealots are going to hunt for the SCV once the SCV does go on this side, unless Mong decides against doing so. Command center on the way, academy on the way as well. The downside for Leeboku, with going for this very quick choke, is that his depots are exposed here in the front and are vulnerable. So there is a small chance that Mongtube may try to get Leeboku into a supply stuck state, which would then naturally, of course, build an advantage for him. Nexus number 3 coming out from Mong. Mong is being very economy centric, not planning on being all that aggressive at all. There's Robot of Silly, there's 2 cannons coming out in the front, so he is choking up after all. Leeboku trying to fight the zealots. Mong micros quite well. Cannons are almost finished up, but I don't think that Leeboku can arrive there in time. Leeboku decides against going for it even, because he just wanted to scare those zealots away, keep Mong busy, kill a couple of those zealots perhaps, which he did. He killed a couple of those zealots. And now he's going for the offensive move. But it's already too late. Cannons have already finished up. More cannons are on the way as well. Second robotic ability is being placed down as well. Leeboku needs stim, and he needs medics. Does he have medics on the way? Medics are on the way. He sees the cannons, sees that more cannons are on the way as well, and pulls back to his own base. And so starts the defensive phase of the match. Leeboku has no offensive capability. Mongtube has no offensive capability yet, but is about to finish his tech so he can start being offensive and aggressive and start flying units over the hill into Leeboku's base. Recognizing this threat, Leeboku has finished his cyber engineering bay right in time and starts making turrets on the side so he can defend himself. Stim upgrade almost finished up. Factory, adding on that machine shop. Choke finished up as well, making a turret there on as well, just in case Dark Templars are within the game plan for Mong, which isn't all too far-fetched. He's got shuttle upgrade on the way, he's got 2 reavers on the way as well. Zealot count is very low, so his only option here is going for the reaver drop over the hill and potentially, and hopefully, kill a couple of those marines, clear out a couple of turrets, and open up a path for the follow-up drop that I'm sure he's going to set up for with those reavers, unless he is going to fly in over this side here, which Leeboku is now planning on plugging up with some turrets. But that's a wide open space for Mong to fly in over. Although Mong, of course, does not know what we know. He only knows that Leeboku is going to try to defend. He does not yet know where the holes in Leeboku's defense are. So you're gonna have to be looking for those very soon. Gateway's finishing up. Dark Templars on the way. Shuttle about to fly himself into those turrets, but considering he can see over the wall with the shuttle, he sees those turrets and he decides against going for this path. Turns back because honestly it's not worth flying into shuttles if you're never going to be capable of unloading the units that you're trying to fly over with the shuttle. So best you pull back, just as Mong does, and he is regrouping and waiting for more units to finish up, more shuttles to finish up, so he can fly in a bigger drop. Waiting for a Corsair as well, because the Corsair will take away the focus from the shuttles. You got upgrades on the way, weapon and armor. Storm upgrade on the way as well. Zealot legs did not upgrade yet. Don't think he's going for too many zealots. Maybe he did upgrade zealot legs, I'm not sure. I missed out, or I forgot what he did or not. There's the Corsair, there's the shuttles, gonna fly in over the western side, eastern side, this is the east. Eastern side of Leeboku's base, where Leeboku honestly does have less units located. That's what I thought. He scans, what did he see? He saw it, alright, so that's a beautiful scan there from Leeboku. He scanned the shuttles, he knows the shuttles are there. Which makes this even harder, because now there's more units here for Leeboku to intercept those shuttles. It's taking an awful lot of time. Mong knows that he got scanned, so he's just waiting for this other drop to finish up for loading. We can fly that one in at the same time. And use this one as pretty much just a distraction. There's the Corsair. The Corsair tried to scout. He saw all the Marines. Now tries to fish for another hole, but there's no hole to be had here inside of Leeboku's base. Leeboku already repositioning his Marines to different locations, because of course you want to be capable of intercepting stuff, shuttles that are coming from every single direction, so it's always smart to have some Marines on all sides. He's even made a bunker there. This is a weak spot, and Marines and bunkers do not die to storms or Reaver Scarabs. Smart move. Armor upgrade, a weapon upgrade for tanks on the way. And I'll admit, Leeboku's base is still quite small because he's investing so much into those turrets. Mong has not yet thrown out a punch. So he's preparing a mighty big punch here. What he's going for the front or not, I do not know. Lag upgrade for Zealots now on the way. Dragoon range on the way as well. Adding on a lot of gateways, and I honestly don't think he should be making this one. This gateway should be cancelled, and this one should be cancelled. Because it means that this gateway cannot spawn Dragoons. This gateway can also not spawn Dragoons. This one can also not spawn Dragoons. Actually, the entire row here cannot spawn Dragoons, because the gateways are being blocked. If you remove this one, and the Dragoon from this one will spawn there, this one will spawn there as well, and the Dragoon from this one will spawn there as well. So always keep that in mind when you're making your SimCity. Anyway, huge drop here happening in the top side of Leeboku's base that I almost missed out because he was rambling about gateway placement. So, and he managed to kill pretty much everything here on the top side of Leeboku's base. Managed to spawn a lot of Marines. He got more Strums on the way as well, and jumps in the mix there as well. Zealous taking down all those turrets. This is a massive drop here from Mong. Mong is tearing through the units Leeboku has. Already massing back up inside of his base, almost back up to unit supply. Whereas Leeboku is slowly losing units on unit supply now. 110, more turrets going down and more Strums landing on some of those units. Pretty much all the units that Leeboku had, pretty much all of his Marines have gone down. So all the Marines left inside of his base, he has to relocate units from the front to the back. And there, eventually the fight does end. But Mong, being a very, very quick and very multitasking player, has already massed up another drop, which will be capable of flying in unopposed here on the side. Because Leeboku has pretty much nothing left here. Pretty much nothing left, nothing in the way of this drop. Shuttles come flying in, most of those shuttles there on the side to keep his moves busy, but he's going for the SCVs as if he's going to pull off the minerals, but that means that Mong can go for whatever is in the vicinity, which is those Marines. SCVs still being pulled away. Now he can go for the command. He's going to go for the command or not. He's going to clear out those SCVs on gas. Tanks there going down as well. Situation is looking extremely dire for Leeboku. Leeboku going back. Ooh, he went back to his mineral patch too soon and lost 20 of his workers. That's unfortunate, but very greedy. Very greedy from Leeboku. Mong already has the next mass drop lined up, flying into Leebokgu's base. Leeboku this time around has even less units. All shields there unloading on the side, not unloading next to the command center, but there's still a storm moving in on the command center, but he storms a little bit too early. A couple of SCVs do go down though, but now he's just aiming for those depots, aiming for the armories. Armory goes down, upgrade doesn't get cancelled. Just planning on killing stuff for his follow-up drop, which is already being loaded up here in the middle of the map. Doesn't really matter that his configuration is like this. He's just making zealots, no dragoons. Game is looking really, really dire because those Reavers are still encroaching, and he gets a shot off on the SVs, kills more SVs, and SVs get pulled off the minerals, and he's even getting another shot. He killed 20 more with that Reaver. I got back just in time. I was expecting another drop to be loaded up and flown in, but he's cleared out his entire section with those drops. Those drops have been absolutely massively disgusting. And now he's going for the front. They're loading units behind the depot line. Mostly Templars, because he's expecting there to be Marines, but there's nothing behind the bunkers, and nothing behind the depot, nothing behind the wall, which means these zealots in the front can just very easily tear through those depots, walk in, and start threatening whatever was behind the wall. No longer a need to shuttle in units if you can just walk in through the front. That's what Mong's doing right here, right now. He is loading up those Reavers, though, because he wants to put those Reavers inside of Leeboku's base. He's going to send those Reavers over on the side. All the Templars eventually here, and Zealots do go down, but another wave of Zealots comes streaming in. Leeboku on 73 supply here. This Mong has just been destroying him, real. This is absolute destruction from Mong here, and there he unloads the Reavers. And it starts attacking the depots, and Leeboku just knows that the game is over because he's got nothing left to fight. 72 supply, he's got a couple of Marines and tanks here in the front, but Templars are moving in, which means that those Marines are about to go down. The upgrades are on 101, the upgrades are on 01. Those Zealots here, that's a total of, yeah, just 3 Zealots, but they're keeping the units busy. The real threat was these Storms, the biggest threat was these Reavers here, that he unloaded next to those depots, and the game was over. And this is actually, like, the game was going really slow for Mong in terms of throwing out punches for the first 7 minutes, the first 8 minutes even. But once he unloaded that very first drop here on the top corner, the game just escalated so insanely quickly against Leebokgu. It just got worse and worse and worse, and Mong just kept throwing hard-hitting punches that hit so hard that Leebokgu could do nothing. There was nothing he could have done to come out of this one alive. Nothing. I honestly think there was nothing he could have done. That was just pure overpowerment in effectiveness of the attacks. Pure overpowerment. Even though the attacks may look quite simple, you just load up a bunch of units into a shuttle, fly them into the enemy base, but it worked out so extremely well that there was no coming back from that spiral downwards for Leebokgu. And honestly, he played really well. I'm gonna give him a like because he played really, really well. But playing really, really well in the face of even better play will not get you a win. It gets you a loss. But it does get you a like. So no thumbs down, but a thumbs up for Leeboku. I honestly kind of halfway through the video, I kind of forgot the point of this entire video, which was to give thumbs ups and thumbs downs. And I think I forgot to give thumbs up or thumbs down for the last 2 videos, or even the last 2 games, or last 3 games even. So he gets a thumbs up for me. This one, things ended up not working out in favor of Leeboku. He lost most of the games. The games he won, he played really well. The games he lost, he played really well. But against opponents of this level, it's no shame to lose. It's no shame to lose, because these were all top level players. 4v8 top level player. Hamburger Sass, who's a top level player. Then we have Mongtube, who's a top level player, like an actual top level player. So no shame in that for Leeboku. He at least showed us he has no fear of anyone. So that's the video for today. We can deduce that Leeboku gets a thumbs up for me. He honestly does. Plus, some of the replays were a bit old, so not really representative of his current skill. He's gotten a lot better over the past half year, so I will give him that. Perhaps next time I should pick more recent replays, so you can hold that against me. Anyway, I'm rambling on for way too much. It's time to end the replay here. Call it a day, say goodbye, and have a good day.